The CFL has suspended Simoni Lawrence, Ticats linebacker, 2 games for his high hit on Zach Collaros on Thursday night in Week 1. And I really think the CFL got it right. I only thought they'd suspend him for 1 if they suspended him at all. So kudos, Randy Ambrosi, for realizing the importance of this whole situation and player safety. So I'm just going to turn this show loose on our guest, Marshall Hamilton, former Rough Rider, Stampeder, and Ticat, and Mike Abou-Meshrik. He's flexing already. Rough Rider, Blue Bomber, and Renegade.
Man
Stop
City
with
fan.
the soccer. Gentlemen, I'm going to start with you, Marshall, on everything. Let's start with
so many things to talk about. Which one do you want to start with?
The suspension.
The suspension, I think it's a good number. I'm actually surprised because I thought the league would sort of chicken out and go with a 1-day game suspension, which I thought would be far inadequate to what I thought it should be. As soon as it happened, I thought it was a 3-game suspension worthy event. But I know the history of this league, and the history of this league isn't to do that kind of stuff. To fine somebody for, I think the maximum fine allowed under the CBA is a half a game check, and that would be a pittance. I mean, that would be a shame if that's the only thing he got. But I really think that if they're serious about this, that should have been a 3-game suspension. I heard people saying, well, he should be out just as long as the guy that he hurt is out, and I don't agree with that logic. I mean, that's just emotion talking. I mean, if Zach Collaros is out for a career, which there's potential for that, I mean, it would be against that person's human rights, I think, and certainly labor rights to take away somebody's career for an entire year or for an entire career just because the other guy had a history of concussions and you happen to be the last guy to hit him. So I think there needs to be a maximum to that. But 2 games I'm happy with. I think there should have been a 1-game suspension for the other hit, the one on Powell. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Rider fan, but that was an absolute cheap shot. And we got to get cheap shots out of the league.
And that's what I was going to say. I agree with you 100%. So I won't just go over why I think they got it right or wrong. But I wonder if Zach didn't get hurt, whether there still would be the suspensions and the fines. Because football, pro sports in general, they need to punish the incident, not because someone got hurt.
Not the outcome.
Right? Not the outcome. So yeah, that hit on Powell was much worse, much later. But of course the outcome wasn't there. Powell's played the rest of the game.
And have we heard, is he going to get fined half a game check? Does anybody know that?
Is he going to get fined? It looks like just a suspension.
But I mean, Simoni's a smart player. He's gotten pulled over for speeding before and given him his warning. And so the 2-game kind of fits. But he knew what he was doing. The coaches knew what they were doing. Hit Saskatchewan Roughriders in the mouth, hit them hard, hit them early, and they will fold. Their quarterback will be hurt. They didn't fold. They came back. They fought back.
Can we prove that accusation?
Well, that's what every coach ever tells you all the time.
Well, just the Saints coach got suspended for half a season for doing exactly that. So that's all I
telling them to hit him hard and go hard, that's the essence. I mean, it happens in RMF. It happens everywhere. Go out and be aggressive. But the words versus the meaning. Hit the quarterback happens every time. But when you say hit the quarterback and it's Zach Collaros, you know what I mean.
I mean, this was so obvious. I mean, the Ticat fans will say that Simoni Lawrence does not have a history of this, but he doesn't have a history of being fined or suspended for this, but he does have a history of this.
Being a dirty player.
And I thought it was really, really powerful, and I've never seen the TSN panel go as aggressive on anything as they did on that particular thing. And it was so perfect the way they kept showing the Collaros hit over and over again by Simoni Lawrence. And then they replayed back to 2 or 3 years ago and asked Henry Burris what his thoughts are when the same guy, Simoni Lawrence, went after his knee right after he came back after having a knee injury. I mean, you just look at those 2 things. You look at those 2 things side by side and you go, how is that not intentional? I mean, anybody with a brain in their head says, duh, that's intentional. So there should be fine, and I agree. It shouldn't be for the outcome. It should be for the intent. That clearly was an intent to hit him in the head. That clearly was an intent to hit Burris in the knee 2-3 years ago or whatever that was. We got to get that out of the game.
He didn't hit Collaros in the knee and Burris in the head.
Right.
He knows what he's doing. He's a great, smart football player, and great smart football players make decisions a heck of a lot faster than you or I do. They make decisions faster than I can snap my fingers.
Well,
so to say he only had 2 yards to pull back, you have like fractions of an inch to pull back. So the 2 yards is someone that isn't being.
Well,
real.
look, it sure looked like he targeted the head. And, you know, one of the guys I talked to this weekend was George Cortez, who's probably listening right now in Houston. I brought up the term targeting, and he goes, that's not a CFL rule. That's a college rule. Well, he's still targeted, and George is like, it's not in the rule book. And he's right. But the rule in college is that if you target somebody in the first half, you're gone for the second half. If you target somebody in the second half, you're gone for the first half of the next game.
And that's what they need to bring in, I think, because...
Yes, so why haven't we? I would love to get the commissioner on to get his side of why they do the things that they do. Why are they not suspending players? Because Mike Riley came out Friday, the day before the Lions-Bombers game, and said, the onus is on the players, not the league. And he's right. And the only way the players will back off headshots is if they think they're going to be suspended 2, 3, 4 games and be out some money. That's the only way.
I agree. That's a new way. The old way. I got in it on Facebook with Benny, because he's probably listening too.
Benavides?
No. So many Bennys. Benefield. I just said to him, back in the day, Simoni wouldn't have made it out of the quarter. We would have taken him into pieces. You know, in the huddle, the offensive line would have gotten down and said, I want his legs, I want his neck, and not to talk about the enforcer in hockey, but that's what it is. If the referees and the league aren't going to protect the players, we need to do it ourselves. We will do it ourselves.
But let me throw a new angle at this. Where is the Players Association on this one? I'd be really curious to see what happens in the next few days, whether there is an appeal or a grievance filed by the Players Association on the back of Simoni Lawrence. And if they're doing that, I'm asking that union, who are you supporting? Collaros or Simoni Lawrence? And they're really caught between a rock and a hard place, but they need to show some courage and step up to the plate here too.
And do what?
Well, I think that there needs to be somebody in the Players Association that has enough cojones to say to Simoni Lawrence when he wants to appeal this, I'm assuming he wants to appeal this, that, hey, we think that was a fair thing, and I don't think it's worth appealing. And, you know, we'll appeal it if you want to, but if you're asking me, I think that's a fair suspension.
Yeah, I don't think you can take that due process away. Like you're saying,
yeah, you've got a duty of fair representation. That's the business I used to be in.
Right. I don't think I should have. I was treated fairly. Yeah, you were. Pay the fine. Sit out your 2 games. That's always the answer, right? We all kids, you know how that is.
Okay, so switching gears, by the way, it's Monday morning talk. Maybe we'll come around to this number 1 quarterback situation for the Rough Riders, but because we have viewers all across the country, CFL fans of all teams, can I get you guys takeaways from week 1? All the game. And again, Ticats beating the Riders 23-17. Eskimos outlasting Montreal 32-25, which wasn't a great game really till the end. Ottawa beat Calgary 32-28, and Winnipeg beat BC 33-23 in what I called Canada's game of the week. I watched them all day Friday. I was watching ESPN at my house. Didn't leave my house much Friday. And all day, guys, on ESPN, they were promoting the fact, tonight, CFL on ESPN2. Montreal at Edmonton. I'm like, oh, I hope this is a good game. I hope it looks good. I turn it on. Empty stands, bad football for the first half. It picked up in the second. I'm like, this is not a great ad for the CFL.
I'm still getting I'm not in mid-season CFL watching form, and that game made me want to quit. That game, I fell asleep. I have this thing. If I fall asleep 3 times during something, I'm not starting it over again. And that game was just horrible. So
that's why we need cheaper tickets to fill the stadium up. That's not going to make the football any better, but at least it would have looked better. But that's one of my takeaways from week 1.
They'll be knocking down
more people there.
For tickets.
Yeah.
Oh,
so here's my takeaways, and this is in no particular order. 1, the league's in good shape. 2, the East looks stronger this week than I thought they would look, given what happened in the offseason. Montreal looks like they're going to be okay. Ottawa looked way better than I thought they would look. Edmonton, lots of turnovers, but Harris, wow. Mike Riley in BC, for the most part, wow. Calgary, nice to see them come back a little bit and look a little bit humble, but they're still going to be a very good football team. Winnipeg, I picked them for second last week. If I had a chance to re-pick again, I'd probably pick them for first. I think they're going to be a really good football team, or are a really good football team, and are going to have a good season. If I could re-pick, knowing what I know now about Zach Collaros, I'd pick Saskatchewan for 5th, not like I did 4th. So the league is going to be more competitive than I thought it was going to be. The West is still going to dominate. I still think every team in the West is going to have 8 wins or more. I still think there's going to be a crossover. Hamilton's going to be good. I know I made a $50 bet with somebody last week that Hamilton would finish first. I still think that's going to be the case, but Ottawa's going to give them a run for their money. And Ottawa, Dominic Davis, he looked impressive. So I know that's in kind of random order, but I thought it was a good week of football, and I watched every minute of it.
Abu, you're like a bucket horse trying to get out of the stall. So hang on. My question to you, Marshall, as the former punter that you were, John Ryan's attempt on Frankie Williams, I think it was 86-yard punt return touchdown, which provided the winning points in the Week 1 game. What did you think about John's role in the coverage there?
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. His effort was weak, but the benefit of the doubt I'm going to give him is he's probably been beaten over the head for the last 13 years in the NFL, or whatever number of years he played in the NFL, and said, you are not a tackler. Stay away from the ball. I don't want you to even attempt a tackle. Just get the heck out of the way. And I think John Ryan, as he's running towards that guy, John Ryan's a good athlete and he's a big, strong guy. He's running towards the guy going, I want to tackle him. I want to tackle him. I want to tackle him. And his mind is going, but my coach is going to kill me. My coach is going to kill me. So he sort of gave a half-assed effort to turn the guy back into the play so that his team had a chance to make the tackle. But, I bet he regrets that now. But I think it was a contradiction of, this is what I want to do, but this is what my coaches have been telling me not to do for the last 13 years.
That's exactly what it looked like to me, that he was thinking on the football field. Like, we know John. I think lots of people know John, and his natural reaction is to dive in there and knock the guy's teeth off. But it was like he was thinking, all right, angle him off. Someone will catch him. There's a lot of people faster than me. I'm 37 years old. There's a lot of angle. Oh, wait a minute. And those split seconds that we just talked about were there not before he knew it, but when they were supposed to be there.
Yeah, would we rather have Jamie Borum as our punter? Jamie was like a little middle linebacker,
missing every other game,
but couldn't punt that well. Or would we rather have John Ryan? And I'd rather have John Ryan, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
All right. Thank you for the explanation. And I guess we've got 2 minutes before our next commercial break. By the way, Milt Steele coming up next hour and Gary Lawless. But Abu, your Week 1 takeaways.
Well, I was just saying Calgary, they won, right? It wasn't pretty. We didn't know all the names, but that's what we were saying the last few weeks, is that's how they're going to do it, and we're going to learn all these names as they do. They won, and that's what Calgary does. Ottawa looked good, but I'm not ready to crown them yet, They didn't have a lot of film. We sat here last week saying we're not really sure what the offense is going to look like, how they're going to do it. Is Jenny's going to be there? Is Davis? Who's going to be there? And I'm going to say this about the Riders as well. Is it when you don't have film on somebody, they can use their talents. They can surprise you. Once you start getting some film on people, you know what their tendencies are. You know what they're good at. You can take that away and find out what they're bad at. So I'm not ready to put Ottawa ahead of Hamilton at all.
Really?
Yeah, no, not even.
Winnipeg's the number 1 team in the CFL, however, as we sit here today.
That was the game of the week. Going into BC and winning. Game 1, Game 2, Game 18 in the playoffs. That's one of the hardest things to do. At least I had a hard time doing it during my career. Going into BC and by hook or by crook, it was 2 versus 3.
And it looked like their offensive line hadn't skipped a beat. And Andrew Harris, how do you not be impressed with Andrew Harris at his age, continuing to do what he does? I didn't do the math on it, but it was roughly 9 yards a carry. Like, that's just phenomenal. And the offensive line was just having fun. It was like the defense for the BC Lions was playing on roller skates, and they just kept pushing them back a little bit, and Andrew Harris just followed them.
And that's the other side of the puzzle to Riley looking so good. I mean, how many points did they score in Week 1 on offense? I don't
33.
So. Yeah, 33. That's a lot. That's enough to win a game.
Yeah.
But where's the defense? Where's his offensive line or receiver? I mean, he's got some receivers and stuff. But I know BC is going to have a lot of holes in its roster, and that's going to be interesting to see where they are and how.
Justin writes in and says, do you guys think that Winnipeg got lucky on that first game for the fact that BC doesn't have enough time to connect with each other? No. I don't think you get lucky in the CFL. You earn your wins, particularly on the road, and especially in BC, where it's very hard to win. But I'm with you on that, Abu. But I like the vibe in BC Place. It looked like they were having a lot of fun in this stadium. And the Lions are going to be good. They're going to be there in the end. And if you're not watching CFL football, you're missing a lot, like Jeff Heck doing at Duran in the fourth quarter for short-arming that pass. Like, they played together here. They know each other. Then they're trashing each other on Twitter. I mean, this is fun stuff.
It should have been a flag, though. That really should have been a flag.
Come on.
That's taunting. That was so obvious taunting.
So they missed a call. You're right.
But what's better than trash talking your brother?
Oh,
you know,
no,
your
absolutely.
buddies.
If I'm Jeff Heck, I'm saying, boy, what a chicken you were on that one. I'm not going like this, but I'm still saying it with my mouth because you can say that. But going like this, that sort of made the referees look bad because that was obvious taunting.
But should we expect a suspension or a fine this week for Jeff Heck for that?
No.
I'm joking, of course. But do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised on Thursday if the CFL doesn't send out a statement with all their week one discipline and say, Jeff Heck fined for
celebrating,
taunting.
Yeah, if you want to fine him $100 or something like that, but you're going to fine a guy half a game check for taunting? No, I don't.
No, I was exaggerating. Yeah. I tend to do that. You know me well enough. But I think, now that you say it, I just thought it was funny. And there's no bigger Duran fan than me. And I still thought it was hilarious.
But Heck was right because he did short arm it. He did chicken wing that one.
He did.
You're watching Rod Pedersen on demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.